I have been cutting, splitting, and stacking and storing and seasoning firewood for years, for decades, and I think I just might have found a genius solution that I've never seen anybody else do on YouTube or anywhere else. Hi, and welcome back to Purple Collar Life. I'm Chad. I might have just had the best firewood idea I've ever had. We're going to talk about it in today's video. You can see I'm up here in the woods. I've got the Ford Workmaster tractor here, and I was just reviewing, checking out my wood piles here, and I've got a multitude of them all around me. So here's one stack, started here, and you can see I've got a tarp on it. This section's not tarped, but it needs to be because this is fully seasoned and now it's just getting soaked. You can see the tarp kind of blows in the wind and then you lose some of your coverage, so we've got a bad section there. This wood's all going to be, rotting away faster than the wood that's properly covered. The other thing that happens is rain and snow doesn't always fall straight down exactly. There's wind, and it ends up catching the edges of these logs, and then I carry them into the basement. I try to let them sit a little bit. We've made a video in the past about how to dry firewood that was fully seasoned but then got surface moisture on it, so I'll put a link to that video up above. But that happens really often for me, that I've got wood that is mostly covered up, but some of it gets some moisture on it one way or the other, and then I have to spend some time getting that moisture out before I throw it in our buck stove. Now, I know there are stoves out there that you can throw green wood in. If you've got an outside boiler, I've seen people throw green wood into the outside boiler. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I can tell you green wood or wet wood is a bad idea for an inside wood stove like ours that uses catalytic combustion to help provide the heat to our home. Here's a couple other wood pile examples. These are ones that I've started more recently this summer. These are pieces that you can see I've got them covered up with tarps, but same issue. These edges are going to get wet when it rains or snows. I've said in some previous videos, I am the world's worst firewood stacker. So I love using the IBC totes to stack and store firewood. A couple key points about them. I save the top part of the bladder as what I call a rain cap to be on top. But you can see it doesn't cover the whole way to the edge. So the wood on the edge, and you can see the color difference here. This outside edge wood gets the sun and the rain and the snow on it, while the inside wood stays pretty well protected. Same thing on the front here. This gets the weather, but a little bit inside, more protected. The other thing I really like about the IBC totes is that it helps the wood season a lot faster because you get good airflow through the cage system, and that works awesome. But once the wood's seasoned, you start to get all that weather that your dry wood now becomes wet with surface moisture or snow. I was up here a few days ago taking from this hickory IBC tote for firewood in the house, and I had to let it sit in the house for a little bit because some of the pieces were pretty wet with some snow that had fallen sideways. Here's a stack of oak firewood that's looking pretty good. And then here's two more IBC totes. You can see this one doesn't have a rain cap, so I put a piece of tarp on it, but that wood getting some moisture on the outside edges in the last rain and snow we had. This tote is cherry. It does have a rain cap on it. And it's pretty decent, except you can see the edges and the front got wet. So while I love IBC totes, I've been looking for a solution where once the wood's seasoned, how do I protect it from getting wet again? And I think I found that solution. In a recent video, I talked about going to Tractor Supply and purchasing 2 tons of wood pellets to get us ready for wintertime, ready for winter heat. And when I got those 2 tons of pellets, it kind of gave me an idea. So here are a couple other totes of firewood that's completely seasoned, ready for me to take into the basement a load at a time to use for heat. So you can see I've got my rain cap on here. Nice, beautiful oak, all seasoned. This one looks a little bit different. This is my genius idea. I have decided that the bags that cover the ton of pellets might be perfect for covering an IBC tote that is fully seasoned. So doesn't need to get the airflow anymore, doesn't need to get any of that sunlight, fully seasoned, ready to go. And the worst thing that can happen to it in the wintertime is the snow and the rain accumulating on it, making all that surface moisture. So I'm thinking this might be a genius idea to use those bags from the pellets to cover my IBC totes that are fully seasoned. But we're gonna have to find out what happens in the wintertime with condensation. Does it end up rotting the wood away? Does this just make a really great tent for mice and rodents to live in all winter long? These are the things we're gonna find out this winter to determine if I am a genius when it comes to firewood storage in an IBC tote, or if this is a huge fail. Make sure you leave a comment down below. What do you think about completely covering a firewood stack, front, back, sides, top, that's already seasoned? Now, I've talked in other videos about how even in the wintertime, firewood still seasons through a process called sublimation. And I'll put a link to that video up above. But once it's already fully seasoned, I think this is a great idea. And I've never seen anybody else on YouTube talk about using the pellet bags to cover their IBC totes. So this might be the problem. With a flat top surface, you're going to accumulate all that water in there, and maybe it'll hold for a while, but I would think eventually that would start to leak out. You can see each one of these areas has a pocket of water in it now. See if we can get this to drain out without getting totally soaked. So these bags are just about the perfect size, maybe a little bit big, but it's nice that they're not so tight that it makes it difficult to put on. But you can see how this is going to protect the top and the front and the sides from all that weather. It's actually just about the perfect length. Yeah, it goes the whole way down to the bottom. It's tight enough that I don't think it's going to blow off, so that's a good situation where you're not worried about it blowing off of there. And with the rain cap on, that's going to still deter the water off the sides, which will be better than this other one where the rain cap's not on. So there we go, 2 IBC totes completely secure from the upcoming snow and rain that we'll have this winter. I can just pull those covers off and take the nice dry firewood into the basement. It'll be ready to burn. It's fully seasoned and it'll be fully dry. Now you guys should let me know down in the comments, is this the best idea I've ever had for firewood, or is it gonna end up being the worst? What's your prediction for how this is gonna hold up? If I get another ton of pellets, I'm definitely planning on using the bag to cover up another IBC tote that is fully seasoned. And that is the key. It has to be already fully seasoned. If you cover up wood that it isn't fully seasoned, I would imagine it would get mold, mildew, and it's not going to season because it's not going to get any airflow in there. The same question I have though about this. Is it going to be so tight, not enough airflow, that even though it was fully seasoned, the condensation throughout the winter from the warm and cold spell changes, is that going to cause this wood to get damp, maybe stay damp, and then get moldy? Just a couple days ago, I shot that video about the snow being here, and you can see how that snow has already melted away. But it did, just in a short time here, get some surface moisture on this already seasoned firewood. So I think the bags over the IBC totes might be exactly the solution I've been looking for. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative and entertaining, please give us a thumbs up, click that hype button, leave a comment down below, share this with a friend, and hopefully we'll see you again the next time.